recently I went on a tear in ranked. This is my current win streak with Jaime. Some people that are seeing this are like, oh wow, is he top tier now? Like, oh my god, like, well, rock. No, but he still has fundamentally like the same problems, and that being that in a majority of his situations, a majority of his conversions, he has to choose between Oki, drink, or damage. He has to like choose between one of the three, essentially. So that's still fundamentally true, and that's basically why he's not top tier right now. Of course, once he gets a chance of being able to do two of those three consistently, then he's gonna, I think, skyrocket to like at least top 8ish. So the reason for me being able to do this wasn't because the character got better, to be honest. No, it wasn't that. A lot of it was just mental. I think this is a conversation that would benefit a lot of skill levels, regardless if you're a new player, you're intermediate, you're a tournament competitor, or you're a top player, you know, striving for a championship. My discovery, I think, is it's not just unique to me. I think it's something that anybody can benefit from. I decided to bust out the handy dandy. You guys haven't seen this in a long time. Aha! My whiteboard. Let me... God, I'm sorry. I haven't done this in a while, so I have to get used to this. We're gonna talk about some key things, all right? How the hell did Zaf do this? Okay. Fucking Sharpie. Ugh, in my fucking throat. Ugh. Fumes are strong as hell. Don't do that. Okay, so let's talk about it. So here's some key things. In order for you to, let's I guess call this like how to be a high performer. Okay, how? This might be crooked. I'm sorry, because my shit is like slanted. Let's use different colors, because you know you want to look cool for the video, right? It's a very simple conversation, to be honest. But you know me, I like to go in depth with everything. So let's start with number one. So number one, okay, it's very, very important. You have to learn how to relax. So everybody's different. Okay, there's no like cookie cutter style to how you accomplish this, or there's no like universal reason for why you are not relaxed. It's unique to each individual. I can start with me and then we can go from there. With me, I wasn't a relaxed player for a very long time because I was overly ambitious. I was just super ambitious, constantly striving to win, okay? And it made me exert a lot of, we're gonna put like little opposites. We're gonna put these three things. Okay, I exerted a lot of effort and a lot of tension and essentially distractions. Okay, so relax. Now here's the thing. How do you know you're not relaxed? If you are going through one of these three things, all right? You're exerting effort, you feel tension, which could be physiological, feel like your heart is racing, you feel like you're clenching your teeth, maybe you're like squeezing your feet, or you're distracted. You're thinking about results, you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about all these other things, and that is removing you from the moment. And only in the moment can you truly relax. So, how the hell do you relax? Well, I'll tell you how we're gonna relax. Here's the second part. Two very simple things. Number one, you gotta have faith or belief or what we could call conviction. So whatever you want to call it, you need to have these ingredients. This will help you with being able to maintain relaxation. Having faith is essentially having sight in darkness, right? Darkness meaning towards the future, because you can't see the future. You can see only what is in front of you. But the thing is, if you can only see what is in front of you and you are a slave to your belief system of your past, it's very, very, very difficult to have faith. So what you need to do is you need to cultivate a belief system, faith, or have conviction. All right, you need to teach yourself right now that whatever it is you're striving for, you already are that thing. You understand? You already are this thing. This thing that you're chasing, you're seeking like permission to be. You're only seeking feedback from your experiences in order to believe you are who you want to be. Remember, I'm gonna say that again. You are heavily reliant on your feedback reassuring you that you are the person you want to be. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the problem. And the reason why you're having a hard time having faith is because you're an adult, your ego is strong as and you're constantly surrounded by a world and community that is results driven. We're constantly comparing, constantly distracting ourselves with what the next man, next woman is doing, next person is doing. So we have to cultivate this. And how you can remove these things if you do have it is by comparison. Comparison is going to lead to suffering. Everybody's journey is unique. I am so guilty of having done this in the past. That's why I'm telling you guys this. I'm telling you this not because I'm better than you. I'm telling you this because I've done this dumb shit. So I'm telling you from personal experience, we should not be doing this shit. And every time I've accomplished great things in my career, it's been because I was relaxed and I had faith and conviction in regards to who I am. That's essentially all it is. It's so simple. So let me use me for an example. One of my greatest achievements was when I double Jeopardy Justin Wong in Street Fighter 4. Came to a tournament and he was f***ing up everybody. We played in winners. I beat him 2-0. And then grand finals, he won the first game. I won 3 straight. And what I noticed, because success leaves clues, right? Let's say you have success here at this, in this pocket of a memory, dot, 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 dot. You have you know, here in another memory, right? There are clues, there are commonalities between these two events. So another one was after I played Tokido after he won Canada Cup 2018. I was in the Japanese suite. I was there, Problem X was there, Daigo was there, Ago, blah 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 blah. Tokido had just won, came in, strutting the trophy. So he comes in, and you know, we're all playing games, just chilling, vibing. Problem X, being the funny instigator that he is, he goes, "Hey Zaf, what do you think of Sagat versus Akuma?" And I'm like, this mother. And I asked this in front of Tokido on purpose. I said, "I think Sagat wins," and Tokido's like, "No, Kuma wins." I was like, "Nah, I think Sagat wins." He's like, "Nah, I think Akuma wins." I said, "Nah, I think Sagat wins." I said, "No, pal. See this trophy? I think Akuma wins, bitch." I said, "Whoa." Damn, Tokido. He didn't say that. I'm just joking, right? It's dramatization, guys. Dramatization. Think of it like America's Most Wanted when they exaggerate shit. All right? So then I say, okay. All right. I mean, I just don't agree. So we play first to 3. I f*** Tokido up so bad that everybody in the room was in shock. They were like, and then you hear the but all I remember in that moment was when I was playing him. I had such a joy when I was playing because I was like, wow, I get to play Tokido after he just won a tournament. This is so cool. But I didn't play him thinking, oh, here's my chance to prove I'm better than you, and then just Shawn Michaels super kick him. No, I didn't do that. Instead, I was like, hey, wow, this is so dope. I get to play like one of my favorite fighting game players ever, hot off of a tournament he just dominated in, right? Literally fresh off the press, and we get to play. But then when I was playing, it was so strange because like I was smiling the whole time. Like I knew I was gonna fuck him up, but I didn't know I was gonna fuck. I was just having fun. I was just fucking that dude up. I was beating his ass. You know how like Rocky be fucking up the beef in the freezers? That's what I was doing. And then it happened. And I just got up, and then Problem X just looks at me like, you just 3-0 Tokido? I was like, I guess I did. No, that's kind of crazy, right? It was cool. Daigo ended up wanting to play me. It was so sick, right? That was like such a cool moment. And I've always wondered, like, between these two moments, the Justin moment, that moment, I was like, I've never felt like I've played like that ever since. But then I look and realize, well, in those two moments, I wasn't exerting these things. Effort. I wasn't distracted by that. I was just playing. And you know what ends up happening when you do this? You get to relax. And the reason why relaxation is so important, this is too important, is because everything that you train is now allowed to come to the surface. So instead of, let's say I have like an iceberg, right? I got this little iceberg over here. Say you got water, right? You got an iceberg. The purple line would essentially represent the separation, the line between what would be your conscious mind versus your subconscious. So now all of the things that you do on the surface, which you are doing conscientiously, are these things: exerting effort. You're distracted. You're trying to prove something because of ego and blah, 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 all this shit. Now, the problem is all of your training, when you go to training mode, you know, repetition is one of the strongest ways of learning, supposedly, right? It's, to a degree. It depends on what type of learning you're trying to accomplish. But typically any sort of learning, especially when it's like involves, you know, physicality, it's a great way of, you know, garnering and so things can become natural. But the problem is that when you are training, these things become subconscious because you don't have to think about it anymore. It's like when you drive a car, you don't think about driving your car anymore. You're literally in just an autopilot state. But now the problem is when you're driving and you're worried about snow, you're worried about traffic, you're stressed, you're starting to interrupt what's going on down here. You see what I'm saying? Because of this is taking the wheel. All right. This part of the iceberg, even though most of your gifts and your talents all exist here, this is hijacking the ship and it's fucking everything up. Okay, so because of this, we have to get this shit out of the way. You have to get your conscious mind out of the way. Okay, and the way you're going to do that, all right, is you have to negotiate with yourself. You are sitting at a table. There's two versions of you at this table. There's you, okay, and then there's this version of you that you're clinging on to. You need to negotiate with this dickhead, essentially, in order for your subconscious to take reign again. You understand? So how do you do that? Everybody's different, but I'll tell you what works for me. Okay, what's worked also in sports, which is like I explained this on the stream recently about having an alter ego, having a version of you that feeds off of the struggle of the moment, right? So for example, you have Kobe Bryant's Black Mamba, Michael Jordan's MJ, right? Air Jordan, whatever. You got King James, LeBron James. We need to get our conscious mind out of the way. We gotta get this fucking hater out of the way, bro. So we have to negotiate. So what works with me is I've come up with like a chart of things, right? Of what it looks like to be the person that I want to be. Okay, and I constantly keep that image in my head to distract my conscious mind. Versus this now allows my subconscious mind to do its thing because it's unimpeded. It's not impeded anymore. Like this shit gets to just be free like a child, and all of my instincts, everything comes to the surface, right? And now what's interesting is because this isn't in the way, the things that usually would cause me to get distracted, feel effortful, tension, things like that, which would be like, for example, mistakes, those things don't come to the surface. So I would notice I'd have like a weird, like I'd have highs, I'd have lows, and it's just like this. And I'm like, what the why are there these 2 points? Like, what is causing me to be one versus the other? So it's the way I've trained. So when I would train to not have mistakes. You see, that's not realistic. You could train to minimize mistakes, but the thing is, if you train to eliminate mistakes, that is not healthy. And that's what I was doing wrong, is I would train to eliminate my mistakes. And because I would do that, what would happen is when something happened outside of my control, lag, input getting eaten because of drive rush, which I still think is stupid, by the way. I've learned to accept it for what it is. But things like that, when they would happen, it would be like a slap in my face because I'm like, yo, I thought I trained to not make mistakes because that was my intention. Why else am I training? But then I'm making these mistakes, right? So I would get frustrated. And then in the game, the way you train is the way you play. So because I'm training to be a perfectionist when things aren't perfect, how else am I supposed to respond? I'm going to be frustrated because I have an expectation in my brain that is now not being matched up with reality. And that's what breeds frustration. Okay. Expectation, reality, they don't mix. Frustration happens. You understand? So you have to negotiate with yourself. You have to identify who you are as a person. What does it look like when you're in that state? I can tell you what it looks like when I'm in that distracted, angry, frustrated state, right? I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like, right? And you have to be honest with yourself. See, me, I prioritize my growth. I don't give a fuck about the pain from being honest, because I think it's more painful to lie to myself than it is to admit shit. So like, I would get mad, I would get angry, I get fucking frustrated, I'd blame the game. Not saying that the game doesn't have aspects of it that is like horseshit, of course it is, right? Or the lag, right? The rollback, or my character being inconsistent sometimes, right? With Dulcim or Jaime or whatever, right? But it's not those characters, because when I would play a top tier character, I'd still have the same experiences, right? So it is not the character. The character can mask some of your blemishes, of course, right? That happens. But on the journey that I'm on, I need to correct things at their source. I'm not going to hide from the facts of the matter, right? I need to improve. That's just what it is. So now, quick pivot. How to manage expectations versus the reality feelings. This is a great question, okay? Because this shit is hard. This shit is mad hard. So you guys, this is a life question, okay? This is not just a Street Fighter thing, okay? In order to manage energy, you have to release it, right? Because if it's pent up, it's gonna screw you over. It's like if you push a ball underwater, it just pops up somewhere else. It's gonna eventually come back. So you have to manage it at its source. So when it comes to expectations and reality, how you curb it is this, and this is what I've been doing. And this shit is gold, guys, I promise you, right? What I've been doing is In the event the worst possible thing happens, what is it? What's the worst possible thing that can happen? I'm wrong. I lose. I don't win a Grand Slam championship. Imagine that type of reality, right? Imagine a reality you don't hit 2000 MR. And then imagine it, accept it, and then what would you do from there? You see, so now the big bad boogeyman under the bed, which is the experience that you are trying to run away from potentially happening, right? Which is where the frustration comes in, where it's like you're not getting what you want. You've now attacked that thing at its source. That shit is not as scary anymore, because you're like, okay, I've already envisioned if the worst possible thing happens, I would pivot. I would be able to do this. So let's talk about in a StreetFighter example. I walk forward. Worst possible thing that can happen is I get hit with low forward drive rush. Okay. Now what does that mean? I'm in the corner. Maybe I have to guess. I don't have to guess right away though. But the thing is, the feeling of needing to guess happens because you're distracted. Because you're thinking about the repercussion of allowing whatever to happen, or you're thinking about what just happened because you got hit. A mistake happened. Now you're frustrated. Now you're disconnected from reality. Now emotions can start to pour in. Because now what happens as a human, we do this thing where we see an event. Let's say we see a square, right? We see a rectangle, whatever. We see a shape. And then we've identified this is the event, right? This is number one, event. And then number two, we start to see multiple rectangles. Now, guess what? We've seen a pattern. Oh shit. There's more mistakes. There's more failures. There's more me f***ing up. There's more shit to complain about. There's more of this matchup. And you start to look for patterns. You start to, you see those things, right? Now, the third thing you start to do is you start to identify. I'm going to put an I here just so you guys can think of an I, okay? An I, okay? You start to identify, okay? Meaning, I've seen so much of these things in my StreetFighter play. I've seen so many of these things in my relationships. Then I must be the problem, which is okay. But the problem becomes the fourth step. When you identify, the fourth thing becomes you evaluate. That's where shit gets dangerous. So instead of you, for example, you're a referee of a tennis game, and you're like, okay, they're playing tennis, right? Let's say they're playing tennis. Okay, they're playing tennis. And you know the ball goes out, right? The ref is sitting up here, he's watching. The ref just says, oh, fault, out. This is you messed up. That's what the ref says. You were wrong. You did the wrong thing. Okay? No, they don't say that. They don't say that. They say this happened. That's all they say. They don't say anything beyond that. But your brain says, oh, I fucked up. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. And you evaluate it as good or bad instead of objectively being like the referee who just says, oh, okay, this happened. Fault. Okay, it's in. Here's a point. Here's, I don't know. Right? I don't watch tennis. I don't know the rules, but it's just an example. But that's essentially what you want to do with your situations is when you see patterns and you identify to it, which is okay because then, you know, it's good because then you can focus on what you control, right? Which is healthy, guys. But the problem is if you evaluate when you identify, that's when it's dangerous because then you start to say I'm a bad player, which is what I've done. I'm a bad player. I'm stupid. I suck. I'll never be able to do this. You see what I'm saying? All these things start to conjure up. And now guess what gets affected? The big four. Your beliefs, your thoughts, your identity, your sense of identity, and the attention, the things that you look towards. The attention that you give the world now is going to be within this pattern recognition. Where you're a human. In order for you to survive, you have to look for patterns, right? It's a way of lessening the mental load on your circuitry, right? It's something called the reticular activating system, RAS. And basically what that is your brain's ability to just delete shit. Your brain wants to delete information and only look for patterns. This is why you will, for example, when you buy a new car, you all of a sudden see your car everywhere. You know why? Because that car is now a significant part of your life. It's a part of your ownership, right? So your ego is extended onto the thing because it's now in possession by you. So everywhere you go now, you see your car. You never noticed it before. Doesn't mean it wasn't there. It was there. It's just that what ended up happening was your brain was like, well, before this is too much information, and you're gonna go batshit crazy if you just have that type of awareness of everything all the time, you know, you're gonna just get stressed out. So we look for patterns naturally. It's literally what we do. Okay, so in your experiences, it is natural for you to see patterns in your opponent, in your play, in the good, the bad. You see what I'm saying? But the danger is in identifying to those things. That is one of the things you have to be very, very careful with when it comes to expectations and reality. Is you have to create that sort of separation. You have to learn how to objectively just look at situations, and you say, ah, okay, I keep getting hit walking forward, but that doesn't mean I suck. You see what I'm saying? Like, I keep getting hit by low forward drivers. That doesn't mean you suck. Oh, my DP keeps whiffing. That doesn't mean you suck. It just might mean that that aspect of your play can be worked upon, you know? And a lot of this stems from like how you're raised too, mind you. Like here's an example. Something I learned recently when I was reading was like cooperation is demonized in childhood, which is so crazy. I never realized this. But you know where it's demonized? In school. Because what do they usually associate with cheating? Working with somebody else, right? On a project or whatever, right? It's or plagiarism. I guess that's like a, you know, it's not an exact form, but my point still stands. It's like if you work with somebody on an assignment and the teacher knows, they can say you're cheating, right? So the thing about kids, right, is like obviously it's not a direct translation like this means that. No. But the thing about kids is kids learn what you don't say, right? So if you say something, they also learn from what you don't say. So for example, if I say, oh wow, Stalin, you're so smart, you know, because you make everything look easy. What do you think you also learn from me saying that? You learn that, oh, so if I make everything look easy, I'm smart. But if I make something look hard, does that mean I'm dumb? You see what I'm saying? That's how kids learn. So you have to be like very careful with how you move in this world because of your belief system, you know? So even like looking at the North American scene, which is what I've been striving really hard to like to just break, is the lack of cooperation amongst players, because we're taught intrinsically, right, that if I need somebody else, I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy enough. I should be able to do this by myself. You see what I'm saying? And that's not how it works. All of the crazy strides I've made in like the past like 4 months have been because of people I play with and talk to on the regular basis now. It was like a good like 15, 20 people. You know what I'm saying? And then also talking to you guys in the stream chat. You know, getting feedback from you guys, my lessons, the people I teach through Metafire or whatever, right? The YouTube comments, people I talk to, anything like that. I'm learning a lot from those interactions. So it can't just be me. I'm interdependent. I rely on you guys just as much as you guys rely on, you know, the grocery store clerk to ring you out and shit like that. Like that shit is an illusion. And I don't want to get into how this came about based off of who funded the education system. That's a completely different rabbit hole to go down someday. But just know, right, that a lot of our belief systems are essentially what hold us back, right? And those things can trigger these things, these type of things that kind of get in the way of you being able to perform, right? So the relaxation, all right, and the conviction, the faith, the belief, confidence, these two things intertwine, and that's how you essentially can accomplish flow. Because then what happens is the sense of self, of identity melts away, and all that exists is you and the actions before you. You understand? If you're able to just play, perform without seeing anything aside from the objective feedback of the situation, then it'll be a lot easier for you to tap into that flow, essentially, right? So another thing for me, what helps me relax, what I realize is preparation. I love preparing. I love routines. I love structure. And that's why you guys have been seeing me do a lot of the warm-ups on the stream now. Like I used to kind of just do it only off of stream. I was like, I don't think these guys care for it. But when I seen people were embracing it, I was like, oh, this is cool, because now I could just start my stream and go straight into doing that, right? But routines, everybody's different. So some people, it might be like, you know, before you play, you might read a book, maybe you meditate, maybe you stretch, maybe you go for a walk, maybe you go outside, right? Get some sunlight. I don't know. Drink water. I don't know. Whatever it is. Have a conversation with your loved ones. Maybe watch something that uplifts your mood. You gotta tinker around. Everybody's different. Find a way to relax, okay? And what helps me relax is my enthusiasm towards the thing that I'm doing. So it's a lot easier for me to enjoy ranked to enjoy the jungles, the guerrilla warfare that is at, you know, Street Fighter 6 ranked, when I'm like embracing it and I'm accepting it for what it is. And then I just try to find my own unique appreciation inside of the filth. And then that's what keeps me going. So when I've been playing, if you've watched some of my matches throughout the streak, I don't win the same way. Every match looks so different. Sometimes I dominate. Sometimes I win after losing the first round. Sometimes it's tooth and nail. We're both pixels left. And I just keep clutching it out. I already know I'm a very clutch player. But like many players have said before me, the only person I lose to is myself. And it's so true. Like, so once I like realize like, oh shit, this person that I've been like striving to be, I already am. It's just that I choose not to believe that, because I choose to seek validation in results, so then I can start to behave like that person. That doesn't make any sense. That's thinking ass backwards. You know, there's a Muhammad Ali quote I really love, where he was talking about how he's like, he knew he was a champion even before he had the accolade. He thought it even when he didn't want to believe it. He thought it. And that's how you gotta be. Like, when you play, you have to get to a point of security where you're like, regardless of if I lose 50 MR today, I gain 100. I'm the same person. Do you understand what I'm saying? Can you say that? Because if you can say that, that's how you have the conviction behind who you are when you play. And then ultimately it'll help you relax a lot easier. And then now all the things that you've trained can now come to the surface.